What's going on, people? Welcome back to Curtis Shaw TV. Going to do a video today about Massimiliano Allegri, the Italian manager, and will he be joining Arsenal finally? He was one of the favourites to get the job when Arsene Wenger left Arsenal, and now reports coming out today are that Arsenal have made contact with the Italian manager again in regards to becoming the Arsenal manager. Now, we know Unai Emery is still the Arsenal manager, but the more and more we read and listen to and things I've heard is that there are movements behind the scenes. It seems as if he's the manager for now, but that could change. Things have come out this morning. Ornstein has said now that he does think things are happening behind the scenes. So maybe Arsenal are doing their work to try and figure out the replacement. And Allegri has become one of the favourites for the job. Now, I was a little bit dismissive, I'll be honest, about Allegri. At the start, my attitude was sort of, he's won the Italian league with Juventus. Anybody can win that league. It's become a bit of a one-team league. But when I actually dug a bit deeper and looked at what he did over there and comments that players have made, I think he did a very good job. I read a comment that Buffon said, although Conte sort of built Juventus back, Allegri took them on to the next level. He played a different brand of football. Conte's was a bit more rigid, 3-5-2, whereas Allegri plays like 4-2-3-1 and 4-3-3 and plays a little bit more passing football. But he's also very defensively solid. So I've been reading these things, Allegri is learning English. Apparently he's very keen on coming to the Premier League, but it was only last month that Allegri had an interview and said he was not ready to come to England yet as he hadn't learnt the language enough yet. Was he just saying that? He was being linked with a Manchester United job at the time. And looking at it, when I look around world football at the moment of jobs, of managers that aren't in jobs that we could probably potentially get, you would say Allegri is the biggest. Some people have said Rafa Benitez. I'm not totally convinced about that appointment, although I do rate him as a manager. He's on 12 million a year in China. And also yesterday it emerged that Nuno Santo, the Wolves manager, had become the bookies' favourite out of nowhere. Sometimes these things you take with a pinch of salt. Someone could have put a massive bet on Santo and all of a sudden bookies panic and make him the favourite. Is there anything in it? I don't know. A few weeks ago, George Mendes was at the Emirates, and everybody felt like him and Sanelli were talking about Mourinho, with Mendes being Mourinho's agent, but he's also Nuno Santo's agent. So was that the conversation they were having? I don't know how I feel about Nuno Santo coming to Arsenal. I kind of look at him as a good manager. He's done a good job at Wolves. He got them on a good run in the FA Cup. They did well in the Premier League, qualified for the Europa League. They've done well in the Europa League this year. He didn't have a huge amount of managerial pedigree prior to Wolves. But my question is sort of, can he operate outside of that line? He's created like a comfort bubble for himself at Wolves. Portuguese players, Portuguese staff. Mendes, the key, who gets players to come over here. Outside of that comfort, can he do that at Arsenal and deal with the little things that are happening off the pitch and the fan base and those sort of things? So I'm not sure. I do like him, but I'm not fully convinced he's the right manager. I've sort of got in my head now with what I've read that Allegri is maybe the one we should go for. He's learning English. He's got very big links around Europe in the transfer market. They were talking about him maybe getting Emre Can to go to Manchester United. Now, that is a player from Juventus that I would take at Arsenal. High energy, powerful, good on the ball, good age, knows the Premier League. They're the type of players I would like to see us getting as well. So, Allegri to Arsenal, will it happen? John Cross has said this morning as well that Allegri was interviewed when Wenger left, something Ornstein said as well. So you have to wonder, if Allegri was interviewed, why was he not offered the job? Or did he reject the job himself? But he seems to me like the number one candidate, really, in terms of the pedigree, in terms of the CV. It just doesn't seem to me a job that you can give to Ljungberg or Arteta. I just think there's too much of a mess. But maybe if they're not convinced with Allegri, or maybe Allegri doesn't want the job, maybe they think give it to a Ljungberg short term and go for the bigger manager in the summer when obviously other managers will become available. So Allegri, would you be happy with Allegri coming to Arsenal? Can he do the business in this job? Doesn't speak great English. Hasn't managed in this league before. Can he fix this team without the financial backing that maybe requires? You know, at Juventus, they were the best team in the country. So he was head and shoulders above everyone else. In this league, there are maybe 4 teams better than Arsenal at the moment. So how will he cope with that? But to me, he seems like the standout choice at the moment. Who else would you take? Some people have said Rafa. Nuno Santo, what's your thoughts on him? Premier League experience, but I'm not fully convinced by him. And after reading up quite in depth about Allegri, I've been a little bit more convinced that he's tactically very astute. He's a winner. They say, although he's very animated on the touchline, he's quite laid back in the dressing room. He listens to the players. And that is very important to do that. So, Arsenal being linked with Allegri, will he join Arsenal? Are they going to make their move? You know, I've said this over and over again. This board, I backed Sanelli in the summer. I felt like, you know, we've got a real big boss on the board there who's going to make things happen. And they've given him the power, you know. He got the Pepe deal done when it seemed like we couldn't get him. But now I'm questioning Raul Sanelli, but is he just not in as much power as we thought? So I'm hoping they restore some pride back in the club. Please listen to the fans. We've lost faith. We've tried to back Emery. We've got nothing personal against the guy. You know, he seems like a nice guy, but he's just not good enough for what we need at the moment. The players are losing faith. Stories are coming out of arguments between players and the manager. It's time for him to be moved on. And I think every managerial appointment comes with some risk, but in my opinion, I think Allegri's the one we should go for, if he's willing to take the job, of course. So let's see what happens. It's going to be an interesting day. You know, Arsenal's like a soap opera at the moment, and every day, different stories, different elements. Don't forget, like, comment, subscribe. I want to know in the comments, what manager would you go for? Because everybody's saying, get rid of Emery, get rid of him. But give me a suitable, realistic option to replace him with. You know, Ten Hag doesn't want to leave mid-season. So people who are saying he won't leave. Vieira has struggled at Nice. I know that would be a bit of a fairy tale, but he has done not great over there. You know, possibly. Arteta. The Arteta thing baffles me. No managerial experience. People seem to think because he's worked with Pep, he'll be this great manager. I'm not fully convinced by that either. And Ljungberg, again, no experience. Sometimes, okay, you can turn a manager with no experience into a great manager, but that comes with a huge risk. And for me, I would be going for Allegri. Let me know what you think. Don't forget, like, comment, subscribe to the channel. Thanks for all your support. We're almost at 2K. So keep supporting. Look out for more videos. Curtis Shaw TV. Bless.